Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Brian. And we're going to talk a little bit about the ballooning price of game development, which has been talked about on podcasts by Ubisoft, potential other sales of other companies to other gaming companies. They always have been citing the rise of costs to develop games. Now, there are loads, and we're just going to talk about one that this particular article talks about. I'm not saying this is the only reason. Do not get me wrong. This is not the only reason. But, as the subheading says, one employee costs $15,000 to $20,000 per month. Someone's salary and benefits is $140,000 a year. Now, is that a reasonable price for programmers? Depends. Do I know programmers that make that much? Yes. Do I know programmers that make half that? Yes. Do I know government programmers that make nowhere near that? Yes. And is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? It's really immaterial, but it is something that has to be looked at. And here's the problem. I think one of the problems associated with this is that the average, where they state it in this one, the average, somewhere there to the bottom. Well, it's not the average. I did see another one that says, some of these games have 300 employees. So a year of 300 programmers working on a game costs $72 million a year. I don't know if 300 is a good amount of people working on a video game. And here's why. I know programmers that do incredible and make some amazing programs, proprietary stuff, a lot of engineering programs, a lot of government projects and stuff like that their teams don't top 20. Now, is this a result of a lot of games trying to go huge live service games like Marvel Rivals and things like that? Does it take a lot more? I don't know. But when your human cost is $72 million for one game, and most studios are working on multiple games, we're reaching that point where the cost to produce games at this price point will continually to fail to meet the mark. Doesn't matter what the game is. We're getting to that point that even if it's an amazing game and sells tons, the return on investment isn't like 200, 300%. It's more like 50%. That's not a good return on investment for a business. I mean, yes, you're not losing money, but you're not making enough money to fund the next project. You see what I'm saying here? It's, yes, you made money, this project made money, but not enough money to get the next one off the ground. So, you have a game that costs $500 million, and it does well and sells $750,000 worth of content. You're now 50% at the starting cost of your next project. 50%. Do this a few times, the studio goes under because you're not making enough money to fund what's next. That's just how businesses work. Is the human cost a part of it? Yes. Are new technologies and new programs and new software and new other things in the physical development of the software, the engines and things like that. Is that causing games to go up more? Yes. But the human cost, just the labor cost is, wow. I didn't realize that, But I mean, so I don't have the numbers for December. But I looked at the ones for November. So these numbers do not contain Marvel Rivals, which I do think would be on this list, but it's not on this list because it wasn't released yet. But the most popular PC and console games in November of 2024, number 1, Fortnite. Number 2, Roblox. Number 3, Minecraft. These top 3 are not huge graphical running engines on things like Black Wukong, Call of Duty. These aren't huge real life graphics. I mean, just look at some of these. Sims, Valorant's kind of in between. World of Warcraft isn't. Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2. This is an old game. This is on my list to play this year because everyone's been talking about Half-Life 2 is the one I gotta play. I bought it. I'm gonna play it. And there's rumors that we're getting a Half-Life something, hopefully Half-Life 3 this year. Or at least an announcement of it. It was teased. I made a video about it. So Half-Life 2. This game is decades old. It's in the top 15. Dragon Age Veilguard had that huge graphic-wise, yeah, Genshin Impact, kind of on that edge. Half-Life 2, Diablo 4. How old is Diablo 4? It's pretty old. World of Warcraft, I know is old because it was the last video game I played on PC back in 2005. So I know 2006, I think is when I stopped. So we're approaching the 2-decade mark on this. Half-Life 2 is older than that. In the top 20 games played in 2024 of November. So, yes, do people want those games? Absolutely. Do you have to make those games to make money? No. And here's the pendulum swing. Indie games. There are a lot of cool indie games coming out. I made some videos on several of them. Forge of the Fae, Star Overdrive, and there's more out there that are little independent studio, Technical Breach Wizards. These are indie games that are doing huge numbers. And what's that new one, Me-Side? That psychological thriller game written by 2 programmers that's already made like $500,000. Written by 2 programmers. Two. From Russia, I believe. And yeah, that thing is, they made $500,000. 2 guys. And yeah, it can be done. And it's not like pure realistic. It's cartoony, but yeah. And if you go to websites, I didn't pull it up, but I'll, itch.io. Not everybody knows about it. I knew about it, forgot about it. And literally, these are indie gamers, small individual developers, programmers that are making games, not only like video games, but like tabletop games that are making assets for game development and things like that you can buy, soundtracks, everything that you want. So many things. There's tools, there's games, there's albums, like I said, game assets, comics, all this stuff. And this stuff is like cheap. Some of it, literally, several years, 2 years ago, I think, I bought a bundle from itch.io. And I didn't think about it till literally last week or a couple weeks ago. And I forgot I bought the bundle. I was like, oh, this is a cool deal. It was like 500 something. It was a lot. I literally got 500 video games, about 100 something tabletop game, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons tabletop setups and things that you can play online, gaming development assets and things like that for $10. They did this huge bundle. It was a benefit for Ukraine. This is literally like 2 weeks after it kicked off. And I thought, $10 for this huge bundle. Cool. I'm going to play this. Totally forgot about it. But yeah, 500 games. And some of them I can't get anymore because they took them off the site. But some of them I couldn't get anymore. Some of them aren't listed anymore. I got them. They're still on the site. I still have access to them, but they weren't listed because those games no longer are sold on itch.io, but they are sold on Steam, GOG, Epic for $30 to $40. You know, they were selling them here for $5, and they got a publisher deal, and boom, now they're making a lot of money selling at these bigger venues. So indie games are always the option, and I think that's what some of these big studios forget, that we don't have to buy their video games. I mean, if Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite, these games are not new either. Minecraft is so old. Roblox, I literally know both my kids play this on the reg because that's what, that's what they want in their stockings for Christmas. Every year they get a Roblox card. And boom, that's like as soon as they're done opening all gifts, sometime during Christmas Day, they're on their phones in the living room, loading the Robux and playing. And they play together. They do inside mini games. I've never played it, but I know inside the world, and I keep watch over them, make sure they're safe. But I mean, League of Legends, I guess you'd call it AA. This is Call of Duty's AAA. Counter-Strike, was that AAA? I'd say that's AAA. Valorant, AA, AAA, AA. Rocket League. Man, Rocket League's been around for a while too. Didn't even see that one. Overwatch 1 and 2. I mean, none of these major studio releases, I mean, literally, Veilguard and, what was it? Call of Duty. Those are the big 2 AAA games released that are on the top 20 most played of November of 2024. It's not stacked with all these huge ones. Nintendo doesn't even have one on this list. That should tell you, I mean, like, and I would think at least Mario Kart would still be on this list because there's an insane amount of people in Mario Kart. And ironically, which one of the ones I was going to guess was going to be Among Us. Because I swear, that's every time I look at Kick or Twitch or YouTube, like, someone's playing Among Us. Like, constantly. And I'm like, really? Okay, cool. I mean, there's a lot of live streams of it. So I do think that, yes, the development cost of the human cost, I don't think, and I could be wrong, I am not a programmer. I am not a game developer. I'm just a guy that likes to play video games and is trying to learn more about this rediscovered passion I have. Do I get things wrong? Of course I do. Do I get things right? A few times. And here's the thing. That's huge. And here's why. Let's translate this to construction. How many people do you think are working on homes? I see homes going up all around me. If I saw a construction crew with 50, I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're going to have that house built in like 2 days. Don't get me wrong. 300 to me, and I am not in the gaming industry, 300 sounds excessive. It does. I mean, I don't know what else to say besides the fact that, wow. And you go back and look at other top selling games, and I've seen a few on Twitter and others, is like, hey, here's the staff for this new game, and it's a room full of people. I mean, like a room, like 300 people, like it says here, and then you look at that same studio for their game like 5-6 years ago, 20 tops. Where did the 280 people come from? And what are they doing? Is this more writing? Is this more programming? Is this more administration? Is this what are all these people? 300 people on a video game project? I don't know. But to me that seems excessive. And that's per game. This is not per studio, this is per game. So to me, 300 sounds excessive. I could be wrong. Has it been done before in the past with less than 2 dozen people? Yes. Constantly. It hasn't been till the last few years that the surge in prices of costs per game have gone just through the roof. And I really don't know what to say, except are we on a bubble? Are we at the gaming bubble? I just want to look up something. It just popped in my head. And see, I just was like, okay. And I just looked it up. I wanted to see. I was like, okay, well, let's see. According to Google, 300 people were on the development team for Zelda Breath of the Wild. So maybe this number isn't outrageous. I might be wrong. You know, in full open world concepts, maybe you need that many people. But if you're programmers living in Silicon Valley and you have to get paid this much because 75% of your paycheck is going to housing, I mean, I'd move my studio to someplace a little more economical. Just saying. Down the road in Plano. Just up the road in Plano. Sorry, everyone in Texas says down the road no matter which direction it is. But up the road in Plano. And Frisco. And yeah, definitely Frisco is huge, booming with just a lot of tech companies moving here because cost of living is lower. And so you don't have to pay $140,000 because they don't need $100,000 just to afford a place to live. You can do it on 20. This is something the tech industry is going to have to do. And because at this rate, I do believe just like we had the housing bubble and all those other bubbles, this is just like the cost is getting to the point where they can't make their money back and boom, these studios are going to implode. And I mean, you don't have to make VR 100% realistic games to make money in video games. Especially if the top 3 are Fortnite, Roblox, and Minecraft. I mean, most played. Seriously. And I'd venture to guess that Fortnite stays on this list constantly. Every time they knew it you can look at the Steam. Well, I can't look at the Steam charts, but you can look at the player usage charts. Update, and then it slowly dips, and then they release a new season, boom, or a new package or new something. They're constantly adding new content, changing things. And yes, live service games probably do take a minimum of 150. But the cost of doing that is, Fortnite's making money hand over fist. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's the one thing Epic gets right. They give the players what they want. They listen to them. They brought back OG Fortnite, and I mean, it's just crazy. So, what do we do? Well, we as gamers can't do anything. We just got to wait for the developers to do something. And, I mean, I was just having fun. I found a new website. I found a new website that keeps track of all the games I have, so I can kind of figure out what I want to play next and have fun with, and be like, okay, I love RPGs, but I want to stretch out with what other games I have or have access to, and within like 2.5 years of getting back into gaming because of the Switch and my kids, I have a backlog of PC and Switch games of over 400. If I played and completed a game every day, I couldn't finish them all this year. 100%. Some of those games are huge. I mean, huge. We're talking, what's that? There's that. I mean, some of these games are like 200-300 hour games. There's that one that studio that just got sold. It's some space academy thing like that. I can't remember now, but I remember I looked it up, and it's like the average playthrough is 600 hours. I looked it up. I was just kind of making mental notes. I've got over 20 games that are over 200 hours. 200 hours. I mean, Dragon Quest 11 that I just played through and live streamed, that was 140. And I did not 100% that game. I didn't. I got about 90. I 90% of it. I didn't 100% it. But 140 hours. That's what it took. But literally, I would say 50% of my kids' gaming is Roblox. 50. Easily. So this is just one of those things we got to wonder. And I'm not saying this, let me reiterate one more time. This is not the only reason for the skyrocketing cost of game development. It is not. But it's a huge one. So, like I said, I looked up just Breath of the Wild. I was just curious. It hit me when I was thinking about it. How much they did 300. Literally, you Google it. It says 300 developers were playing the first week and beta testing. So there's 300 developers on Breath of the Wild. That's 72 million human labor cost. 72 million. That's a lot. That is not equipment. That is not software. That is not publishing. That is not distribution. That is just the human labor cost. Granted, human labor cost generally from a product like this is one of the top 3. Sometimes publishing, sometimes equipment can be more, but labor is usually it's at the very least top three cost. So is it? Is this what? Is this the balloon that we're just gonna have to watch explode? Because we've seen so many studios sell to other ones and things like it's just high cost of rating these games and blah blah blah. For these specific games, can you shift to a different genre and still make money? Yeah, Roblox is doing gangbusters. Roblox is doing gangbusters, and it's like Minecraft. Minecraft and Roblox are both in the top three, and it is pixel. It's not realistic graphics. Do realistic graphics, are they great games? A lot of them are. Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are. But it still doesn't mean I don't go in there and spit at my NES and play some Legend of Zelda. They forget that this isn't like video games aren't always the one and done thing. If it's good enough, we'll go back and play it. And I started this weekend, where did I start? Trials of Mana. Now, I thought it'd be similar, you go, but right off the bat, you pick your 3 characters out of 6. So to play all the characters and get all their backstories, you gotta do 2 full playthroughs. 2 full playthroughs to see all the characters. Hey, I mean, so if you want to see all the if you want to 100% do everything in that game, instead of being the 80 hours that it says, it's actually 160. Because to do the full playthrough and see all the background and all the backstories of all the main characters, you gotta do 2 playthroughs. That's, first off, it's kind of cool. I kind of hate it because I want to see all of it now, but I mean, there's a lot out there. And yeah, I mean, Balatro, game of the year, made tons of money, and it's a poker game. So these AAA studios don't always have to make these games. And when we see a subdivision, kind of like we do in cars, there's the high-end cars and then there's the low-end cars. Gamers just see it as, what's a fun game to play? And what do we enjoy? Is this fun? Is this good? Okay, let's do it. Do graphics play into that choice? Yes. Is it the only thing that plays in that choice? Absolutely not. Because, I mean, if that was the case, you wouldn't have tabletop games like D&D that are all up here. So, trust me, this is just one of those things I didn't actually factor in the human cost. When they kept ballooning, I was like, how much is stuff costing? How much does it take to license Unreal Engine? I don't know. But I just saw this and was like, $72 million a year for human labor costs of a AAA game. Yeah. If I was a studio, I'd be like, how can we reduce that? Maybe we don't make a AAA game this year. Maybe we could AA game. So we can make some more money off a AA game, lower our costs, and then come back with a AAA game next year. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just looking at this as someone trying to figure this thing out. And like I said, am I wrong sometimes? Yes. Am I right sometimes? Yes. Is this a conversation that I'm trying to have to learn more? Yes. Am I saying I am the am-all, be-all in person that knows everything about this topic? Far from it. I just want to have a discussion. And that's why I made this video. Is, hey, if some of these gaming studios had programmers living in more affordable areas in the world, hey, we live in 2024. You don't all have to be in the same room, as your live service games prove. If we can all play the games from around the world with people, you can probably figure out a way to program in a singular environment. I don't know. Are people still doing Citrix? I mean, that's a good option. Just boom. Build a privatized Citrix server. Log in. I mean, that was always good and secure. Gosh, I haven't used that in a decade, but I mean, there's things out there that you can secure a development server for people to work on from around the world. Not a problem. I know it can be done, but is it being done? I don't know. I'm just saying, instead of having one huge office, have a little smaller regional office of a group of 5-6 programmers. Maybe this is an option. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just talking this out because I'm more curious on how this works. Not to be critical of gaming studios. I mean, I don't want to be that person that's like, just criticize. But if I have a better understanding, maybe I can figure out why things are happening. Because I'm not going to be the person that fixes it. Heavens no. But understanding it, yeah. I'd like to understand it better. Just so we know what's happening and we can kind of see, okay, hey, 2026 is going to be that year where we're all playing games we already own because everything coming out, there's no major releases coming out because the bubble popped. I don't know. Just putting that out there to have a little talk. So until next time, my friends, as always, I love you all and there's nothing you can do about it.